Good evening, guys. Hello, I hope you're doing okay. Okay, so let's start today with our class. Today, we're going to talk about the present perfect. Okay, the present perfect. First, before we start talking about the uses of the present perfect, we have to know how we form the present perfect. And here we have an example. We have sung. Okay, so when we want to form the present perfect, we have to, of course, use the subject. Then we have to use the auxiliary have. And then we have to use the past participle of the verb. So this is really important. Yeah, the part of the past participle, remember, we don't use the simple past. We have to use the past participle. Yeah, so you have to review the list of verbs in past participle. Also, it's really important to remember that when we use different subjects, the auxiliary is going to change. Yeah, remember, when we use we, I, you, they, we use have. But in the case of he, she, it, we have to use has. Okay, that's really important to remember. Now, here we have examples of the present perfect in the affirmative way, in the negative way, and some examples of yes/no questions. Okay, in the affirmative, you can see here that when we use, for example, the subject I, we have to use have plus the past participle, of course. And then when we use she as a subject, we have to use the auxiliary in a different form. We use has plus the past participle. Now, in the case of the negative, we form the negative with haven't or hasn't. Okay? In the case of they, we, you, he, no, sorry. In the case of they, you, we, I, we have to use haven't. And in the case of he, she, it, we have to use hasn't. And remember, we always use the past participle. Now, what about the interrogative? Now, here we have examples of yes/no questions. In this case, the yes/no questions are going to start with the auxiliary, that is have or has, depending on the subject, and then the past participle. So here you have now examples with the present perfect. When we use the subject I, you, they, we use the auxiliary have. She, it, has, but has the verb in past participle. Now in this case we have decided, finished, lost, chosen, or gone. Yeah? Okay. Now, what about the uses of the present perfect? When do we have to talk about the present perfect? And here I want to be very emphatic with the fact that the present perfect is completely different from the simple past. Now, you have to remember that the simple past is used to talk about actions that happen in the past and a specific time, but the present perfect is indefinite time. We don't use the present perfect tense to talk about actions that happen at a specific time. Okay? So we use the present perfect to talk about actions that happen in the past. These actions are over, they're finished, but we do not mention when the actions happened. Maybe it's not important to mention when the action happened, or maybe we don't know when the action happened. Okay? Like for example, you have here a finished action. She has lost her wallet. Okay? Maybe we don't know when, or maybe it's not important not to mention when. For recent completed actions, in this case we have to use the adverb just. No, like I have just finished my project. Unfinished actions. Now, in this case, we are going to use the words for or since. And here we have an example. I have lived in Paris for 5 years. It means that the action started in the past and continues until the present. Okay? So this is an action that it's not over, it's still in process. We can use here for or since. Then we can also use the present perfect to talk about multiple actions at different times. Now it means that we are talking about repeated actions in the past. These actions are over, but we are mentioning how many times they happened. Like for example, I have seen David several times. Another example could be like, I have been to Paris twice. I have traveled by plane 3 times. Or I have been to Cusco no once. Okay? Then for accomplishments, no, man has walked on the moon. Yeah. Okay. Life experiences, like here in this, we have a yes no question with ever. Yeah, have you ever eaten sushi before? Okay, we normally use ever in questions. Now, I told you that we use for and since with the present perfect to talk about actions that started in the past and continue until now. Okay, but here you have to be very careful because there is a difference between the use of for and since. We have to use for when we talk about a length of time, when we talk about a period of time, but we use since to talk about a point in the past, a specific point in time. Okay? But in both cases, it means that the action started in the past and it continues until now. Yeah, and here you have different examples. Let's check one example with for. I have worked here for 8 years. It means that the action started in 2011 and is still in progress. Okay, so we have here after for, we have to use expressions that express a period of time. We have 8 years, 10 years, a long time, 30 years, ages, 6 months, okay? And in the case of since, we have to mention a specific point in time. Yeah, could be since 1993. Now here we have the example. He has lived here since 1993. So it means that he started living there in 1993 and the action is still in progress. Okay, could be since 1993, since last week, since I was 9 years old, since you left your school, since last year. Okay, we can use different specific points in time. Yeah, but it's important to remember that in both cases, the actions are not over. Yeah, they're still in progress. Okay, and just to finish, here you have a link where you can watch more information about the present perfect, how we can make a difference between the simple past and the present perfect. Yeah, and next class we're gonna talk about this video, and there are some exercises for you to do, and that's it. Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so next class, if you have any question, please just let me know, and I'm gonna be really happy to answer your questions. Okay, see you.